welcome back to the Kid Code Project, where you learn to program computers to become smarter than your parents. True. Okay. This is video 3. We are actually going to get into some interesting programming now. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to use the IDE some more to get used to it, to kind of get familiar with it. I'm going to introduce you to what a property is and how to change a property, and we are actually going to make a fully functional program that you can use to get an increase in your allowance. Maybe. But if you're older, I'll show you how to use it for your needs too. So here we are on the start page. But I don't, excuse me, I don't want to use my first program for this. I want to create a new one. Okay, let's create a new program. Let's call it new. Okay, and we're going to call it the, let's see, what are we going to call it? Allowance generator. How's that? Cool. As always, accept the default and it will create it for us. Now you may have noticed that I didn't change it from a form application because that's the default. So if you don't ever change it, you don't have to select it again. Here we go. Good deal. Okay, this looks just like the other program that we created earlier, but we are going to do something a little different now. Okay, what we are going to do is we are going to start working with properties. I'm going to move my webcam up here. Okay, like I said in the earlier videos, when you select the form 1, you see that these are the properties for form 1. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is explain what a property is and objects and that kind of thing. I kind of mentioned it before. Everything in Visual Basic Programming is an object. It's a lot like saying this receipt from Walmart's an object, my cell phone's an object, Skylander, stapler's an object. Everything's in life is an object, right? These are an object. My nose is an object. It's all objects. Okay, but what that means is each one is treated differently. It's treated completely differently than anything else. So right now, the form is going to be treated differently than, and now going to the toolbar, I'm going to drag and drop a button. The form has its own properties because it's an object, and I'm going to select the button, and the button has its own properties because it's a different object. Okay? Now, what's really relevant here is learning what a property is. Now, initially, I had a hard time understanding what a property was, but it's actually not that difficult. Imagine that a property is something specific to the object. Okay, for example, let's say humans, people. People are objects in coding references, right? But they have different properties. Some are tall, some are short, some have long hair, some are bald, some have light skin, some have dark skin, some have brown eyes, some have blue eyes. These are the properties of the people. Properties works the same way in Visual Basic Programming. These are the properties for this button. Now you won't be using them all, we'll just be using the most common ones. Now what I want to do is I'm going to change the font of the button. I want it to be bigger. Right now the font size, you saw how I opened up the font property, and there's the size of it. It's currently set at 8.25. I'm going to make it 14. And if you look here, you see that it got so big you can't see it anymore. So let's grab a handle and make it fit. See? That's how easy it is to change a property when you're designing. It's really, really easy. Let's make it bold. See, I double clicked it, it became true, now it's bold. And the other thing I want to do is change the text. So where is the text in the properties? That's the name. Oh, let's go ahead and change that, okay? You can actually change the name of the button because that's a property. My name is Greg. That's a property of me. Right now, the name of that button is button 1. That's a property. Let's change it to, okay, BTN. Oopsie. Back up. Okay. Button 1. Okay? Or, ooh, I got a better one. Yes button 1. Okay? Now, if you look here, the name of the button is changed. Pretty cool. Now, I suggest you name everything before you start writing code, because it gets a little confusing if you don't. And I'm going to make another note here. Is a lot of people will show videos of where they've practiced it and got it right and got it perfect, and they'll edit it and make it look beautiful so they look like they're geniuses or something. If I make a mistake, you're going to see it, okay? I'm not going to do that to you. Now we're looking for the text. There it is. The text is what is shown inside of the button. And let's make it. Shoot. Come on. There we go. Capital. Yes. Okay. Now then, looks pretty good. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to right click it, and using a standard window function, copy, click the form, right click again, and I'm going to paste another button that has the property set exactly like that one into the form. I'm going to paste it. There it is. See? The font's the same, the text is the same, but the name is different, because you can't have more than one with the same name. Because it's like being in class. If you have 5 Johns and the teacher goes, John, it's hard to know who's who. So we have to make certain we give it a special name. Okay. Now I'm going to name this No Button 1. Okay. And I am going to change the text to no. Okay. And I wonder if I can do that now. It used to not be able to. Yes, I can change the color of the words, the letters, the fonts. Right now it's black. I want to make it like a blue. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. Now we're going to drag another tool onto the form called a label, and we're going to drag and drop it. Now, what a label is how you put text on your form, okay? And you can put any text you want on it. And if you'll notice, when I dropped the first button in, it was named button 1, but I renamed it, and when I made a copy, it renamed this one button 1, but we renamed it as when I drag this label in and named it label 1. So if you drag a lot in, it will be label 1, label 2, label 3, like that. All right. So what we are going to do with the label is we are going to make it bigger. The font size bigger again. Let's make it 14. Let's make it bold. And let's make it blue. Okay. Now, here is where we're going to have some fun. Let's change the text of the label to will you increase my allowance by 50%. Okay, and we changed it. When you make a change in a property, it doesn't automatically show up over here, so we've made the change, and let's click here to see the change. There we go. Oops, it doesn't fit. So let's change the size of the form by dragging the handles to make it fit. Now, I want to introduce you to what's called alignment lines. Anytime you drag a tool onto a form, it has an alignment lines, and it will automatically try to align itself up. You'll see it there, and now you see the one above it. Let's drag the buttons up to here. Let's drag the button up to here, and let's make it like that so it looks pretty. Let's get rid of this form 1. Let's rename it. And let's name the form allowance generator. Why? Space. You can't do that. See, I made a mistake. You can't have a space in the name, so we'll just leave it form 1, but let's change the text, which is really what I wanted to change to begin with. Text. Where is that? There it is. Right there. here's what our program's going to do. You can show it to your parents or any adult you want to, and it will pop up and it will say, "Will you increase my allowance by 50%?" And of course, they're going to go, "No." What's going to happen is when they move the mouse over the word no, the button will disappear and will reappear over here. So when they go over there to click it, it's going to disappear and reappear over here. So basically, they cannot click the no button. Okay, they have to click the yes button, and when they do, we're going to give them a little message going, "Thank you. We're going to hold you to it." Okay, here's how we do it. Now we have one button here called no button 1. Right click, copy, click on the form so the new button will be pasted to the form. Okay, we'll move that over here. Paste another one. Let's paste it. Let's do it like this. Okay, like that. Okay, so this is no button 1. Let's rename this one. Going to our property of the name. No button 2. And this one will become no button 3. Now we're going to change one more property for these buttons, and it's visibility. And where is it? Visible. I have just set the visible property of this button to false. Now I'll do the same thing here. And as you can imagine, with the visibility property being false, they're going to be invisible. So without changing any code right now, I'm going to press F5 so you can see the way the form now looks with these properties set. Okay? We're going to start it. And there it is. Okay? You don't see all the no's because their visible property is set to false, meaning not true. Okay? But if you see, clicking these buttons doesn't do anything right now. Now then, let's write code to make this work. Okay, so if they try to click on this button, we want to make it disappear and make the other ones reappear. Now, I'm not going to go into these. I almost lost my train of thought. These actions, my other phone went off. These other alarms. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to, this is actually, okay, sorry about that. That was a very weird glitch in my software. Not Visual Studio's, my recording software. Okay. So right now, what we did is we went in and we double clicked on this button, and it created what is basically called a message. Okay. And it's an action. I'm not going to go into that a lot right now, but we're going to change what we're looking for. What we really want is it to be not click, but I think it's called unhover. Mouse hover. Okay, there we go. Mouse hover. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make one of the other buttons visible and this button invisible, right? So when they move on top of it, they change places magically, right? So no button 2, and now you're seeing some interesting things pop up on the screen. I will go into these more later, but these are actually called tools, tooltips. This will actually turn the second button visible to true, which makes it appear, but now we want the no button 1 to not be visible anymore. Okay, and just for good measure, let's make certain that no button 3 is still not visible. Okay, there we go. Now, what will happen is when they move their mouse over this, it will activate the mouse hover function, the message, and this is going to happen. It will turn the visibility property of no button number 2, which is this one, see, to true, which makes it visible. No button 1, which is the one they move the mouse over, it's going to not be visible anymore, and button 3 will still not be visible. Okay, so let's just give it a try with debug, F5. Okay, we're not done. We just want to make sure we get it right. So everything looks good, and when they move the mouse over, no, it disappears, and the other button appears, like it's almost getting away, right? Now when you go over here, nothing happens. So we want to add the same functionality to this button, okay? But we want it to be not click. We want it to be mouse hover. Now we're doing a lot of things right now, but I'm not explaining everything to you. Don't worry about it, okay? We're going to this stuff more details later, but I want you to get used to going back and forth and understanding how you can change the properties. This dot stuff I'll explain in the next section, so just be patient. Now, to make this easier, let's copy it. Okay, so when the next button is hovered, we want button 2, which is here, visibility, to be false now. We still want button 1 to be invisible, right? Visibility false, but now we want button 3 to become visible. Okay, let's test it. F5. Okay, they will move their mouse over it and it disappears. They move their mouse over this one, it disappears. Okay, now let's do the same thing for the last no button. Okay, if you are having a hard time keeping up with what I'm doing right now, don't worry. You'll get faster and you'll understand it better later. But you can pause the video and do it and catch up, and then keep playing it. Start the video again, unpause. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here for button 3. We're going to paste it, but remember, we now want the visibility of button 3 to be false because we want it to disappear so they can't click it, and we want button 1 to now be visible. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these things we're not using. And I will let the screen pause here for a minute. And if you want, you can pause the video and you can type this in yourself and restart the video when you've typed it in, just like this. Okay? Okay, good. Now, let's test it. Okay. F5 to run it. Alright. So they'll go, will you increase my allowance by 50%? And they'll go, no. What? No. What? No. 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 Now what we're doing looks magical, but all it is we're just turning one visibility property on and another one off. So it looks like it's moving across the screen. A really neat trick. Now, what will happen if they click yes? Well, right now, nothing. So let's add that function to it. Now I'm going to move this over a little bit so we can get to the yes button. Double click it. Now this area is where we write the code for something to happen when somebody does click right here. Click the button. So I'm just going to type in a command. Don't worry about it, what it means and how it works. I will explain that to you later. Just want to get you used to writing a little bit of code. So we're going to use what's called a message box. Okay, now type it in just like this, MSG BOX with parentheses, and make certain you put the quotations in there, and then type in anything you would like, right? What's going to happen is this is what's going to be shown when they click the yes button. Okay, you can type in anything you want. In fact, you can change this whole program to be something besides an allowance generator. You can change it to "Am I beautiful?" and have them make them click yes. When they click yes, go, well, that's what the mirror told me, or something like that. Okay, for all intents and purposes, we're done. Okay, I'm going to pause it right here for a second, and then you can enter it into your own, and then restart the video after you're done. Okay, good. All right, so let's run our program. Okay, will you increase my allowance by 50%? No, of course not. What? Oh, real funny. I can't make that choice. So they're saying, and I go, okay, just for fun. Yes. Boom. And there it is. Thanks. I'll hold you to it. A quick message box. Now this little video has shown you, introduced you to the toolboxes in Design View. Design View again. How you can drag and drop them onto the form and move them around, and how you can actually change some of the properties. Okay, and if you noticed, we were actually changing the properties as we were designing it, and then we were changing some of the properties in code. Right, you can do both. It's very, very flexible, and it's very, very useful. Now you may be thinking, well, what does this tell me? This doesn't teach me anything. Well, one, it gives you a really fun program that you can use on your parents or whoever, and you can change it. You can change it and give it to your friends. You could have, like, am I the best person you've ever met? And make the no go away, and you click yes, go pop up and go, of course I am. It's pretty fun. I always have a lot of fun with it. And we learned how to drag and drop the tools, like I said, assign properties. But I did kind of mention the alignment lines, but I didn't finish. Let me finish that right now. When you move something on the screen, you see these lines up here. These lines are telling you that the no in this one is in line with the no in this one, right? And the same one there. And if you look up right above it, you'll see there's a little line showing it's spaced out from the text. These are real useful to make your programs look kind of even, right? And professional looking, so it's not all over the place. It helps you align everything and put it where you want it. It makes it look, smooth. So let's move it like that. Get everything looking nice. Okay, all the words are even. That one, if you noticed, there. See this no. Let me go back up. And that no are in line, but the no over here is not. Let's bring it down to where it is. There. Now the line goes all the way across and shows all of them are even. Makes your program look really professional, and it's really easy to use. You just drag it to where you want it. Okay, so once again, let's press F5 to see the program. Okay, now if you're asking, well, how do you get them to, not see what you're doing with the code when you pull this little trick on them? Just minimize. Okay, and there you go. Your program's still running just fine. And if they go for no, it moves. Okay, and when they click yes, thanks, I'll hold you to it. There it is. There you go. Let me check my notes real quick and make certain that we have covered everything I want to in this video. Just a second. Thank goodness for notes, because there was one thing I forgot. When you're working with forms and you put a lot of things in the form and you get them where you want them, right, like we do right now, it is not uncommon for a mistake to happen and something get moved. Okay, and it's really annoying having to put it back. So what you do is, when you get everything where you want it, I've got it aligned on that side nice and even. Now all of the no's, the words are in line. That's where I want it. Select everything that you don't want to move anymore. Right click it and click on lock controls. And now you'll see there's like this little image of a lock right here. That means they cannot be moved anymore. I click on it, but it won't move. It won't move anymore. That makes it so nice so you don't have to reposition everything again. Now, if you do decide you want to move something, for example, let's move this one, just because. Let's click it, left mouse button, right mouse button to bring up the mouse menu, and click lock controls again. There's no longer a lock symbol, and we can move it. Okay, so let's move it over here. Right click again to bring up the mouse menu, lock controls, the lock image is there, and it no longer moves. And to make certain everything's still fine, press F5 to debug. Now I'm seeing a problem. Did you notice that the no over here started first? Let's find out why. F5 again. I bet it started and my mouse was already over the button. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. And everything's perfectly fine. Great. There you go. I hope you enjoyed video number 3. If you have any questions or comments, just please put them, post them below. Every like that you put onto my videos is great. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe so you'll find it when I post the new things before everybody else. And thank you for your time, and I will see you later.